What's going on, everybody? It is your host, Murjani Rolls. You would normally hear me on the call-up, but we actually have a special announcement here. The call-up has graduated. It has got his diploma, and now, to celebrate, we are now called the War Report. We figured that we would capitalize on this whole Wednesday Night Wars thing. It's a big night. It was a big Wednesday night that just happened. AEW's first show with Dynamite. Then we had NXT, basically like a takeover-esque NXT. And I also have a friend joining me, Cyrus. You would know him from Spot Callers. Cyrus, what is up? How are you feeling today, man?
Man, I got my hard hat on. I'm in the bunker. The Wednesday Night Wars is here.
It's here.
AEW has started. NXT is putting on a takeover on free television. It's dire out here. I came out the bunker, saw some numbers. I'm going right back in.
Yeah, so it's been, I think, almost or about 20 years before we had two big wrestling federations kind of going up against each other. Everybody kind of, if you remember, WWF at the time and WCW Nitro, where people would just kind of like flip back and forth between Nitro and Raw's War. A lot of people had some expectations kind of going into this Wednesday Night War. I know it may have differed from fan base to fan base. I know with NXT had a 2-week head start. So they were kind of basically trying to put their best matches forward. AEW basically kept on going with their Being the Elite series, and then the road to AEW to try to build some stuff up. I don't know how well that worked, but it definitely kept their fan base excited. So, Cyrus, what did you expect before last night and leading up to last night? Like, how were you excited? Did you expect like some bigger things looking at the card from NXT and AEW? Because NXT basically put 3 championship matches up. So
yeah, honestly, like NXT was just as expected. 3 great title matches. Cole and Riddle was great. The Street Profits versus Undisputed Era was really good. I was really surprised by the Candice LeRae and Shayna Baszler match. I wasn't like too high on Candice LeRae, but I certainly turned around. AEW, I thought they would get more of the kinks out, because a lot of their shows during the summer had like weird production issues, weird directing, stuff like that, and it's still there. But the women's match was really great, which that's all I really hoped for going forward.
Now, quick question. Did you think that, there was a chance that Cody was going to lose to Sammy Guevara and Sammy was going to go against Jericho? Like, did you really buy the ruse that they were trying to do?
No, because I'm not stupid. Like, how are you going to say, like, oh, like, Sammy, if he beats me, maybe no, he said for sure, like a couple days ago, he was just like, yeah, he'll just replace me in a match. But it's just like 2 weeks before you said that, you already had a full-ass promo uploaded on your Twitter account talking about how you're going to kick Jericho's ass. And it's just, AEW seems to like really be blowing their load a lot on social media. Like, Jericho's mysterious partners. Like, you could have just kept that to the chest. You didn't have to tell people what it was. You could have just not uploaded that promo video, and maybe people would have bought it. That Guerrero had a chance.
Yeah. Speaking of which, actually, Jericho spoiled the LAX surprise.
Why'd you do that?
The week after All Out. Like, he did it on his podcast. He actually mentioned that they shot promo right after All Out happened. So it was like the element of surprise was gone. And you had Cody who did a promo basically teasing the Jericho thing at their next pay-per-view, and then
teasing,
like cutting a full promo on Jericho and still going to places like Collider and whatnot, and saying, like, if Sammy wins, like, he takes my spot. So it was kind of conflicting there. There was a hot topic that I kind of wanted to touch on right before we get into the shows. I know there's this big, and I think the A show guys touched on it, but it's specific to AEW. There was this big thing with CM Punk, and there were conflicting things because AEW had put out a statement saying, after CM Punk's comments, they weren't considering him, but on Collider Live a few days ago, Cody said that the door is always open. And it was kind of a little dicey week leading up to that because you had Brandy's kind of like Twitter fits and
just a whole bunch of weird stuff.
Yeah.
And it's just like people were just like, oh man, if AEW gets CM Punk, it's over. Or, like AEW really needed like a hot commodity. Like, people predicted like, oh, like Rusev would really help, or who else was like planning on leaving?
There was definitely like people were saying that the Revival were definitely leaving, but we all knew that wasn't going to happen.
Yeah, that definitely wasn't going to happen. But it was just like, like CM Punk definitely would have like grabbed a lot of eyes, and it's just like now that they lost that, and CM Punk basically made them look stupid, more or less. Like they had a huge egg on their face trying to get CM Punk to come on their show or like sign him via text. Like that's doesn't seem very professional. And then he outed them to the public. They look kind of silly, and now they're just like, nah, we never really like talked to him or anything. And it was just like you have Khan saying like, yeah, CM Punk's pretty cool, or it's just like keep it real. Like he made y'all look stupid.
I think it kind
of... And the door is no longer open.
No, it isn't. Oh, well, if you believe recent reports, it's definitely not open right now. I think it speaks to, and I think we've talked off the show about this, I definitely think as they go with TV and as they build their company, they definitely need to like kowtow to some PR firm. They definitely need to tighten their message up because you'll have Kenny Omega say one thing, and then you'll have Cody say another thing, and then you'll have Brandy come out and say one thing, but then kind of get into like Twitter tats with fans, and it's okay. And back to kind of Kenny's comments about NXT talent. If he was just a wrestler, that would be fine. You know what I mean? Like, okay, cool, you're doing a gimmick. You are a vice president of a company, so if any wrestlers think about jumping ship, they're not going to do it now. They're going to be like, well, to him, we would be dark matches to him. So, like, why would we go to AEW?
You really screwed the pooch on getting like high, other talent to come aboard and be on the show. And I do think like, him being a wrestler and then him being a vice VP, I think people are giving him too much leeway because, Kenny Omega can say any dickhead, whatever BS that he wants, and then people could just be like, well, he was in character. He didn't really mean that. Like, what are we doing? Be professional, or like kind of be clear on like, what are you doing as a performer? Like, I definitely think like Kenny Omega as a vice president should not be like, a TV thing or like, kind of like an authority, quote unquote, figure. I think anything that we see from Kenny Omega right now, like from interviews or like him doing like podcast stuff, I definitely should think it should be the character, because everything else is just going to be taken out of context. And, I'd say let Brandy, Khan, and Cody do most of the talking about the brand, honestly.
Yeah, I definitely think while it kind of like Brandy can kind of go off the cuff sometimes, I definitely think that, like you said, Tony, her, and Cody would be the best, kind of like giving out the AEW message. That seems to change a lot, but like if they can kind of like sit down in the rooms, like, no, this is what we're doing. Kind of like with Tony's comments this week, like he's like, we're kind of trying to do their thing, and then he kind of like slung mud and says that he watched Extreme Rules and there was no way it was better than what they did, Fight for the Fallen or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and like I don't get it. Like, and like still like to this day we still think like, well, I know like a lot of people that are just like, stop trying to fight WWE and try to kind of like be your own thing, or like establish your own brand rather than the brand that wants to take over or beat WWE. Develop your own kind of character or your own style, like, and you'll be different from WWE no matter what.
Yeah, we will definitely touch on AEW's first show in a bit. Right now, we are going to get into the NXT show. It was billed as like a takeover show, basically. They led off with the NXT Championship match between Adam Cole and Matt Riddle. The first 30 minutes of this NXT was commercial free. I don't think that's
insane.
Which I don't think that there's no coincidence there. Of course, this match, takeover type match, it was balls to the wall. For me, it was definitely in the 4 scale. I love how Adam Cole has really impressed me because it seems like he could really work well with anybody. And Matt Riddle, I mean, like, he's just a natural star. They both traded off over and over again. And it just seems like it would just kind of peak and keep going. But Adam Cole retained. Like I said, I thought it was a really, really good match. I loved what I saw.
Fantastic.
What do you think? What did you think about the match?
I thought it was fantastic. I love both of these performers. Both of them could just adjust to like any situation that they're in. They both have great ring awareness. Their styles are like two of my favorite styles. Like I love Matt Riddle's submission brawler kind of style, and Cole just trying to like stay alive because Matt Riddle was locking every submission that he had on Cole. I thought it was really good. The non-stop no commercial breaks really helped the match out.
There was actually an instance where like Cole went for the last shot and then Riddle countered it, and then there was another one where like Cole countered it with a Panama Sunrise. Like the end of the match was crazy, but the post-match angle was actually even crazier because we have a NXT returning champion coming back. Yes, Finn Balor is back in NXT.
What is going on?
I did not see that coming. I thought that he was definitely going to stay on the main roster, but obviously he was there, and he presumably is going to challenge Cole. So, what do you think? Well, he could be. Well, maybe we'll see. But
I think it's more of just like having his presence known, and he would probably like work with some other guys, and then then probably work his way up to Cole. Because I do think it'd be really weird for him just to come in, challenge Cole, and then it kind of look weird if he didn't if he lost to Cole. Or like any way around. Like I don't know what they plan on doing like with that so far. I definitely think Balor should have gotten an interview by somebody at some point during the show, but they interviewed they interviewed Cole instead. But I definitely think I definitely had more interest in what Finn Balor like had to say or what his intentions are coming back to NXT.
So with Riddle losing, obviously there's going to be the speculation with next week being the draft. Is he going to get the call up? So I personally think that Riddle's one of the guys that doesn't really need the NXT title. Like, he's already a made man. I think and there's been reports
made man before he even like became a wrestler, you know?
Oh yeah. So like if you were to move him up to like a SmackDown or a Raw, I think he would be money. So I think I think that this was kind of a send off. I think that he's going to move up to the main roster. What do you think? Do you think that this is it's his time here?
I definitely think before the draft, you know, he probably have like a couple more matches in, you know, kind of do like the Ricochet and Alistair thing where they're kind of like working both for a little bit, and then, you know, he'll just like fully transition over. Like probably like before War Games or something.
Yeah. Because War Games, like, if you are looking at, like, an Undisputed Era, it's kind of crowded in NXT right now. So, like, somebody would definitely benefit of moving up. So the second match we had was a really good Io Shirai Mia Yim match. Mia definitely redeemed herself from the takeover match from Baszler. Io, like I said, like I've said before, her heel work is great, and she's definitely setting herself up. Whenever Shayna Baszler moves up, nobody really knows, but whenever she'll be the number one heel there. I really did like this match.
Yeah.
I liked how it ended. I liked, you know, Mia kind of getting fired up too.
They're working the kinks out. I really like this match a lot. Both these shows, no, not AEW didn't have it, but NXT definitely had a lot of picture to picture.
Yeah.
This whole show, so like commercial break, you know, the match still going on and everything, and I really thought it was funny that Mia Yim hit the protect your neck during the commercial break, and I almost missed it because usually when I hear commercials, I kind of just tune out. But definitely the match was great. Pacing is a little, probably a little off, just like with that slight hiccup with her doing her finisher during commercial break. But yeah, definitely redemption from the Shayna Baszler match.
Yeah, I noticed they did that picture of the picture. They did that definitely with the women's championship match too. They did that a lot, and I'm like, you know what I mean? And then they would go with the high spots.
Yeah, it was. Io Shirai was like, you know, going for everything in this match, really beating the shit out of Mia Yim here. But Mia Yim looked resilient. She didn't like. Io was beating her ass, but like Mia Yim wasn't looking weak in the slightest here.
From there, you had Johnny Gargano versus Shane Thorne.
Whew.
I'm gonna let you go first about what you thought about that. I'll go after you. Take the floor.
I would personally say I watched AEW first before watching NXT, and I was just thinking, like, if this was going on at the same time as the MJF and Brandon Cutler match, they're basically the same thing. Shane Thorne is I don't even know why they bothered having him having this like 2-week feud. Like, I don't really get it. Like, Johnny Gargano, you need to get called up already. Like, leave. It's just like, alright, but like, what have you really done in NXT besides get your ass kicked by Authors of Pain? And is this... I don't really understand this feud at all. Like, it just seemed kind of meaningless for Johnny to like be doing this. It was weird. The match was very whatever to me.
So they're basically, like, with Shane Thorne, it's basically Johnny Gargano is, if you're looking at Mortal Kombat, he's at the top of like the tower for him.
Yeah.
He's beaten, Shane Thorne has beaten all these like NXT breakout guys, and then Johnny Gargano is kind of like the guy for him to go next. I thought Thorne kind of put up a good fight. Johnny Gargano won, of course. I'm kind of with you, as in, where does Johnny go next?
They didn't try to set anything up like post match or anything like that.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of a critique that will kind of go in, is that like right now with 3 weeks of television, like NXT doesn't really have any angles. Like it has like loose angles, maybe like WWE 2K-esque type, but
like a lot of stuff is just like up in the air right now.
Yeah, so it felt like, going into the second hour that it was like, oh hey, Johnny Gargano's here. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we want to get Johnny on the show because he's Mr. NXT. But I don't know where either Shane or Johnny goes after this. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't really. I'm like, okay, what do we do? Like, what do you do with both guys? Do you keep on feuding?
Just like the match after this, like, somebody gets jumped towards the post match. I definitely think like after this, probably like somebody like a Damian Priest or Dijak, Keith Lee, just somebody like bigger than Gargano, probably should have stepped up, or like there's like a backstage segment where they try to set something up next for Johnny, but it was just like, I beat Shane Thorne, I'm NXT, then next match. Like, what the hell was that?
So, second hour, a lot of picture-in-picture here, but we had the women's championship match between Candice LeRae and Shayna Baszler. I thought it told a very good story with Candice being the endearing babyface, and Shayna obviously like plays the good bully role.
Dominant heel.
Yeah, the dominant heel, the good bully role. Like, it would have it back and forth where, Shayna would kind of like get the best of her a little bit, and then Candice would have a little flurry. Of course.
Just get beat right back down.
Yeah, she gets beat right back down. But then I liked how it's kind of how like every Shayna, like at the end of matches plan, she could put that clutch on from anywhere. So she
it's like the easiest finisher to apply.
Yeah. So like Candice hits the DDT, then she goes for that lion salt, and of course like Shayna moves out the way, and she gets her to tap after a little bit. Okay, so I think everybody kind of saw Shayna winning, but where does she go next? That is the burning question here, because it seems like she has beaten every single person.
Yeah, she's beating everybody in NXT. Everybody's joking that, she's going to be the NXT Women's Champion till I die and beyond. And you know what? I don't hate the thought of that after seeing this match. Like, I thought the match was fantastic. I just love seeing Shayna Baszler just, lock in submissions and play with people's like joints and bones and stuff like that. Like, I really like how Shayna wrestles, and if she's going to be like this dominant heel forever with the championship and give me cool matches like this, I don't really mind anymore. But it is weird, like a lot of the show is like, where the hell, what happens next kind of stuff. Like, what's going on?
Yeah, I was kind of like, these matches were great. Like, NXT matches are always great. But in recent weeks, like last week and, this show, just like you said, I was kind of like, all right, where do we go from here? Like, what are the big angles going into November? I know we still got some time before War Games, but like, what are we gonna do? Like, we're on live television now. You gotta build stories for us to kind of cling on. They could. I mean, if you want to go that route and you want to go full circle, you could do Dakota Kai. I mean, you could go that way.
Everybody's predicting Kai right now.
Somebody said Asuka.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. A lot of people are just like, all right, Balor's back. Then, like, what if we get Asuka? And I think, like, the Asuka, like, prediction just seems very, like, reactionary to Finn coming back. You get the longest reigning NXT champion, and then you get the longest reigning women's NXT champion. And I was just like, nah, I personally don't see it happening, nor do I want to see it. I But like for real, I don't know where Shayna goes next. Dakota Kai would be full circle. We could probably get like, just in the meantime, we could probably get Aaliyah or Vanessa Bourne.
Yeah, I saw the tweets. I don't know about that.
Not something like long lasting. Probably something that's like 2 weeks long until they write something up. Just something.
So you got Bad and Bougie going against the three horsewomen, and like Aaliyah and Vanessa kind of like getting a quick pin.
Oh yeah, there's a tag team match between the two tag teams, and something. Aaliyah finally gets a win after God knows when.
I can't. Oh man, she's been there 5 years. I don't know when the last time she picked up a win. No. I made a joke. I said that you always know that it's about to be hour 2 or in hour 2 when Pete Dunne comes on, and that was no exception here because he fought against Danny Burch. Was a good change of pace. I thought
for some reason I don't know what was up with that.
Yeah, like it was definitely a hard striking match. It definitely played to both Pete and Danny's strengths for that. Pete wins, but what is more notable about that? The post-match attack with Damian Priest. He hit the Reckoning, and then he just kind of did the hand-banging thing up in the ramp. And it looks like they are going to get a feud there. The undefeated Damian Priest versus Pete Dunne.
Why they set something up for Pete Dunne and didn't set anything up for Johnny?
Yeah. That's actually a good. That's a good point. I don't know. Like maybe Johnny is gonna go in the draft. I don't. You know what I mean?
I don't really get why Pete Dunne. I don't get why Pete Dunne was facing Danny Burch. I definitely think Danny Burch probably should have went against like. Actually, no, never mind because it was the fashion. It was Breezango that came out last week, right? Mm-hmm. For Kushida.
Yep.
We probably should have got like a Tyler Breeze versus somebody from Imperial in the singles match. Pete Dunne and Danny Burch, it just seemed like that seems something that should have happened like next week, when they're not having this takeover.
So of course, to close out the night, shout out to Wale, shout out to Johnny. We had the tag team championship match between the Undisputed Era, Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish versus the Street Profits. I think these guys were absolutely great together. As I thought, the Undisputed Era was going to win because I think it's about time for the Street Profits to move up to Raw. I mean, they've been there for, it seemed like 2 months. So I think it's time for them to move up. And this was a great sign-off for them. I'm excited to see what they could do on the main roster. I think that the main roster crowd is definitely going to take. What'd you think of the closing match here? Keep in mind that this was going head-to-head with the 6-man with the AEW.
Yeah. This match is great. I don't think Undisputed Era can have a bad match. No matter what tag team dynamic is, if it's Kyle O'Reilly and Fish or Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong, they just do really well. And Street Profits look great in this match. Angelo Dawkins, I think he pairs very well with Montez Ford. Just a change of pace and style that they have. Like Montez Ford, all the dives, all the flips, very fast splash, and then Angelo Dawkins coming out with like lariats, spears, very powerhouse moves, and I thought it was really great, and it worked really well in this match.
Yeah, we got to get to what ended the show. Undisputed Era celebrating, of course. Why would you not? Adam Cole is on the ramp by himself. All of a sudden, Tommaso Ciampa's music hits, and they have a stare down. He stares down Goldie. It is on. Fade to black. How'd you feel about that return?
I thought it's cool, but it was said like a couple weeks ago on the A show. It was just like, you know, it's gonna take time for people to like, you know, to get to like love Ciampa again. Like I'm pretty sure like everybody just like loved the sight of him, but like, you know, I definitely think they should. They're gonna be working towards something week to week, and it just made me think like, all right, so what the fuck did Balor come out for? So like I don't really understand.
Yeah, I think you have to build up Ciampa as a face, obviously because he's going against heels. So like, what is face Ciampa gonna kind of look like? And also to your point about Balor, are they gonna have a triple threat? Like, are you gonna have Ciampa versus Balor first? Like,
I do not want to see a triple threat with Balor, Cole, and Ciampa. I don't. Like, I think they're all great, fantastic wrestlers, but in my mind, that match does not go well. It just seems super weird to me. Like, I don't know. Like, they definitely need to flesh out what's going on for the show. Like, I get that they're going up against AEW, and, you know, they have to, like, put on a banger, but, like, now there's, like, a lot of loose ends and, kind of, like, shit that kind of doesn't make sense. You know? They were, like, really playing into the moment, and I don't think that really helped them in this moment.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that they should do kind of like a number one contenders match between Balor and Ciampa, and then whoever does that goes against Cole because it's just too damn crowded that way.
Yeah, but like I don't want to see Ciampa lose.
Yeah, I don't want to. Yeah, because like he never lost the title. Like he had to relinquish it because he had to get neck surgery. It wasn't like anybody beat him.
So it's just like. I don't know, like, why they set that up? Like, this shit doesn't make sense to me.
Because, like, think about it, like, if you do War Games, right? If you do Undisputed Era, who would the four guys be? If Riddle moves up, I guess it would be Gargano, Balor, Ciampa, and maybe Dream. It may be those four guys against those four guys, but like, I don't know. Like you said, like they've had 3 weeks of loose threads, and they gotta like start. Yeah. We gotta start building stories. Like, I mean, otherwise, like you're just having guys just having matches.
Like, yeah, for real, they're just having matches right now, and like, you know, I think. I don't want it to end, but I think like the Kushida and Walter shit is ending like next week. So it's just like, what is Kushida going to be doing for War Games, or what is like Imperium going to be doing for like? Are they going to even be a factor into War Games? Is War Games going to be 5-on-5? Is it going to be like that 1 year where it's like 3 different teams?
Yeah.
Like what is the dynamic for War Games is going to be this time around? Because right now everything is just up in the air, and I'm hoping like stuff gets fleshed out, and you know, NXT just doesn't get lost because there's a new challenger on the horizon.
Yeah, they definitely have to sit down and kind of make some hard coded storylines here for us to like get hyped up. We're going to switch gears, and we're going to go to our friends at All Elite Wrestling. The first ever All Elite Wrestling Dynamite show happened on TNT, of course, built up. A notable thing here, you have on commentary Jim Ross, Excalibur, and Tony Schiavone coming back. So my initial thought was Tony Schiavone was kind of there when Jim Ross kind of checks out. Like he kind of like Excalibur's doing the play-by-play, but Tony Schiavone's there to add extra context because sometimes in the show it seems like JR kind of like where'd JR go?
JR, like for the past, I would say 2 years now, 3. Just doesn't do his homework. Like where are the meetings where commentary just like comes together, or like they check their notes and they just like, you know, say stuff. Like, I don't know, Jim Ross just doesn't do it for me anymore, and like having him on commentary is like pointless.
So, Adam Cole and Matt Riddle on one side. First match ever for AEW is Cody versus Sammy Guevara. Brandy's at ringside, and you know with every Cody match you're going to have some sort of bump with Brandy, which happened here.
She really be killing herself for him. That was insane.
Yeah. As a match, I thought it was okay. I thought it worked. Cody kind of like plays the same hits as far as like physicality to me. They went out of the way to kind of like Sammy had a little nerves kind of starting off to me, but then he kind of really settled in. They played up his cockiness a little bit, but he was able to show like that he was a high flyer, more to Cody's power.
Whatever you can call his style.
Yeah, whatever you call his style. I think they're trying to build up like some sort of story. Like if you watch like the Darby Allin match, that Cody is kind of like the old guy and he kind of has to like wrestle like the new guys, because if you looked here, like he does a cradle for the pin. So I'm like, okay. Yeah, I'm like,
Cody right now is having a lot of troubles like putting dudes away, and I just think that's weird for a dude that is basically undefeated in AEW. That the trope is that he can't put people away.
Yeah, they even mentioned on a commentary about the draw, and they're like, well, if Cody gets another draw, he might be out of the championship match. I'm like, wow, really? Like 2 draws kind of gets you out? So
that's dumb.
Yeah, so they still are trying to nail down what happens for like the standings thing. So after that, Tony Schiavone tries to interview Cody. Guevara pushes him. Then Jericho and just basically beats the hell out of Cody and hits the code breaker. Commercial break goes. Commercial comes back. Jericho is still beating Cody up during the commercial break. And then he powerbombs
Jericho
Cody.
has beat his ass from goddamn, like, the commercial breaks are pretty long for AEW. Much longer than what was going on the NXT side. So Jericho is beating the shit out of Cody for a very, very long time, and I think even when they come back from commercial break, it's an like extra 2 minutes of him still beating the hell out of Cody. And I thought it was like excessive, you know, especially for the ending of it, just to be the powerbomb on the chairs spot, because the chairs don't even like collapse or like bend or anything. And then Cody just falls over and Jericho leaves.
And then, like, especially, like, we'll get to the end of the show. What happens there? Like, my man, Cody, like, you know, like, just to kind of, like, touch on it real fast, Cody somehow recovers himself and gets in full business
comes
attire
back out for
and
another
comes out
beatdown.
for another beatdown.
I don't get that.
Yeah.
Definitely should have sold it. Shouldn't have been there. Let the Bucks get beat up, and you know, like, where's Cody? And then, you know, Cody's not going to come out because he's like still like messed up from the beatdown earlier. This is a lot. AEW has this like a weird pacing issue going on still.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I hope they really work that out.
Oh yeah, it definitely shows in the middle of the show here. So after that, MJF comes out. He does his promo time, you know, making fun of the crowd. This is what he's going to do. I think that's what you're going to get.
Stop giving him a mic. Please stop giving him a mic.
It's funny because like some people love it.
I can't handle you're a virgin, you're a nerd, you know, this American Pie bully, you know, like whatever the hell he's doing.
He's Stifler.
Like long. Yeah, basically, and you know, that shit doesn't work anymore. Like, or like it doesn't get a positive reaction out of me. Like, yes, he's a heel, but like I'm not like, ooh, that dasterous MJF. It's more of just like, all right, let's speed it up here. Like, haha, you know, I live with my mom. Haha, all right, let's go. Come on, let's get the match going.
Oh man! So he has this match with Brandon Cutler, which is super quick because I think Brandon got hurt.
Yes.
Like definitely with the knee. So they like went go home.
I think if MJF was a more experienced or better wrestler, he would have like seen that his Cutler leg was really hurting and would have locked in a knee bar or something and not an arm bar to finish the match. But yeah, like I definitely think if he would have went for the knee bar, like some form of leg submission, that would have worked more into his heel strength. But you know, he just was kind of like very generous, and then doing this weak ass arm bar.
Yeah, I didn't get that either. I'm like, why don't you just exploit the leg? I mean, you don't even have to tweak it hard, but like he'll sell it.
You could have got like the whole arena would have been so upset, and you wouldn't even have to say a word. You know, like you would have been a decent heel, and you know what? He blew
it. So this is where we start in the show, where we start getting into segments that kind of run a little too long.
Yeah, the segment went really long.
So you got Kevin Smith and Jason Mewes, who are hyping up Jay and Silent Bob reboot.
Wait, did this happen before the Obama stuff?
Yeah, that happened
I
before.
Forget.
That happened right before.
Okay, sorry. So
okay. Yeah, you had two back-to-back segments. So
two, like, I would say, like, 20 minutes of no wrestling, and they go back to a commercial break? That shit hurt.
Yeah. So Jack Evans and Angelo, like, interrupt them, and then Mewes makes fun of them, and then Private Party comes out, and it has a drinks with Smith and Mewes. That was it. That was how to hype up the tag tournament.
Yeah, for some reason, Kevin Smith is hyping up, just getting some press about the movie that they're doing, and Chris Jericho's in it. And he's just like, yeah, Chris Jericho, kind of a bad guy, but, he's in our film. And then, the camera doesn't even cut, music don't even play. Jack Evans and Angelico are coming out, and they're like screaming, like Scott Steiner screaming, like I don't even know what they're saying. And then like Private Party comes out with drinks, come up to front row. There's no seats for them, so I don't know where they're gonna sit. And they're just like, go away, and then segment over.
Yeah, the Private Party comparisons to oh man, like it's gonna happen. I don't want to compare them to the Street Profits.
It's
gonna happen,
but it being one tall dude, one dude that's kind of like same build, but like as characters, I think they're completely different.
Oh yeah, and another funny thing is like behind Kevin Smith and Jason Mewes, there are like mad empty seats. I'm like the cameraman should have like shielded that a little bit.
You can see the diversity in that crowd when they get a close up on Kevin Smith and the other guy.
Yeah, a lot of neck beards. So after that, you get another segment with SCU. They filmed. Scorpio does an Obama impression. It was actually pretty good.
I was actually entertained.
It was actually pretty good. So they filmed it a kind of promo, and then they went into the building, and they announced that Kaz and Daniels are going to be the tag team that represents them, and then the Lucha Brothers come in and they do a promo, and then they brawl. That's another thing that
was awful. I don't get it where they do the vignette and then they have them on the ramp just saying stuff. Like I don't really get it. Why have the vignette and then come back to them cutting another promo?
Yeah.
If you were gonna have the brawl, you could have just skipped the whole. Unfortunately, we would have missed out on a great Obama impression, but you could have just cut that out. Like, oh, DC sucks. And then, you cut back to them talking about, yeah, we're going to win the tag team tournament, then brawl. Like, I just don't get it.
2 straight talking segments. But we go into Pac and Hangman Page. This was the match.
I forgot that this match happened.
So this is, okay, they actually had a full match here because the story where, like, Pac didn't come, and then they did it overseas, and it was a DQ. I think Pac definitely came off as a star here, and he elevated Hangman Page.
Hangman Page, I like when he loses, because he looks good in defeat. Similar to my thoughts on Jay White during this G1, like, having really good matches and not coming across as this world, beater, like, I think it actually worked well to his strengths, because all summer we had to deal with, unstoppable Hangman Page and, like, this push that is kind of, like, undesirable, So I do think he looked really good in defeat here.
Yeah, and I think the right guy went over. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you don't bring Pac over for him to lose. You know what I mean? From there, Britt Baker comes out, and then we get into the women's championship match. What do you think about that belt? I think it was like Honey, I Shrunk the Belt.
Yeah, a lot of people are just like, you're not used to the belt, so you're not really, like, accustomed to it, so you won't like it. But it just looks cheaper than the title that Jericho has. Like, it has significantly less plating. It doesn't, it's not shiny. Like, is definitely, like, their remaining budget definitely went towards it.
So, Nyla Rose and Riho, you had the classic David versus Goliath, even though it seemed like Riho had, like, some extra action.
She was Goliath in this shit.
Yeah, it seemed like she was the Goliath because Nyla does a splash, Riho just no-sells it. Riho does...
Rhea is beating the hell out of her. Like, her strikes are, like, doing damage.
Yeah, like, she does, like, 2 knees and knocks Nyla completely out of the ring.
Yeah. Nyla only has, like, 2, like, moments of displaying her strength, and then besides that, it's her, selling a lot for Riho, and I was just like, that doesn't go too well. And then there was that weird chair spot. I was just, Nyla, you are significantly more stronger than Riho is, despite, like, how much offense you're letting her get in. You do not need a chair. You did not need those chairs. And it backfired, but it was just like, what are we doing here?
So, Riho kind of does her own version of the Kinshasa and beats Nyla Rose. She's your first ever. Clean. Yeah, she beat the Giant clean. I would say, to me, this was kind of best match on the show, I think. A little bit.
I did like this match a lot.
The crowd loved it, and she's your first women's champ. You got to get into the post match because Michael Nakazawa almost dies. So he comes out and does the promo, right? And then
very, very, very weird promo because it makes it seem like they didn't want Riho to speak. Like, I don't know if she's like what her English is like, but it was just like they had him come out, and then he was just like, "This is for the Japanese fans" or something like that. And then she doesn't say a word into the microphone. Like, Nyla Rose just comes back and tries to kill him.
So Nyla tries to do a powerbomb, almost drops him on his neck, and then gets the powerbomb, right? Then Kenny Omega comes out and gets the save and does it on Riho. I didn't get that part. There's 2 schools of thought here because commentary did kind of play up that, like, Riho is, like, a friend of Kenny Omega. I get that. But if you're trying to, like, we've talked about it. if you're trying to build up a women's division, then why wouldn't you have a woman?
Keep the men out of it.
Yeah, like why wouldn't you have like a
Why
woman
didn't
come down?
Why didn't Britt Baker, that is literally on commentary, come out and try to like do something about it? You know, they definitely like, I don't know what they're planning on doing with Nyla Rose going from here on out, but similar to NXT, they kind of just like left the women's division like, you know, barren or like open-ended because there's not a second women's match on the show. There's a dark match amongst women, but I definitely think there should have been a match before to, you know, probably establish a number one contender and then have them be on commentary, whoever won that match.
Yeah, not only was it weird to have Britt on commentary and not do anything to come of a save, they had Britt in the dark match. She was in a tag with Allie going against your favorite B. Priestley and Penelope Ford. So, like, I'm like, all right, are you building to Nyla Rose versus Kenny? Like, what is going on here?
Yeah, basically, there is 4 women on this show. That is it. Where do the women go on from here? I have no idea. Probably should have set something up where probably Britt Baker comes out and then B. Priestley comes out because, you know, she hates Britt Baker and then, you know, have a brawl amongst the women or something, you know?
Yeah. But it's like they did the video package showing why Britt hate B, and B's nowhere to be found.
Yeah! I was just like, why didn't they do anything with that?
Like what?
They show Britt Baker, who's not in the match, getting her ass beat, but she's doing commentary. So like, what are we doing here?
So your main event, I thought this was kind of puzzling too. That Kenny and the Young Bucks come out to the Being in the Elite song.
No, it's not puzzling. You know why? All their fans and whoever the hell actually watches that show are in the building. That being their theme song when they come out is god awful.
The All Elite theme songs are, I mean,
yeah, not too right.
Very stock music. So So it's the Elite versus Chris Jericho and Santana and Ortiz, otherwise formerly known as LAX. They're having a match, and I mean the Bucks. Listen, the Bucks are great. They do what they do, and they were kind of like getting it with Santana and Ortiz, and then Omega's kind of doing something, and then while John Moxley appears, and then in the middle of the match, they start having this like Falls Count Anywhere brawl, which it was weird because the brawl was great, but it seemed like all the stuff stopped in ring for the brawl to finish. And the big thing where Moxley does dirty deeds into Kenny into a glass table, and then that kind of ended. So what did you think about that?
I liked it. I liked the brawl, but like the brawl basically taking away from all the attention that is going on in the ring, which it is going on because the cameraman cuts back and the Young Bucks are doing stuff, but they quickly cut right back to the brawl. I thought they were going to do like a picture-in-picture thing, but no. The brawl kind of like soaks up all the attention, and it's kind of like the beach ball at any WWE event, you know? Like, anybody that was in that section of the crowd that could see the brawl are like completely distracted
like, what?
from what's going on in the ring.
Yeah,
because imagine you're watching the shit in the ring, or you know you're in like the platform far, like you can't even see it, and you're watching the shit in the ring, and then you go on Twitter and you see, oh man, he did like a DDT on the table. I was there and I couldn't see a damn thing.
I hope it was on screens. I felt like they did the picture-in-picture too late because as Kenny and John were brawling, the match, the stuff with the Bucks and Jericho and Santana Ortiz completely stops. So it's like, all right, why do you have the picture-in-picture? So that stops, and they keep on having the match. The Bucks try to do.
They cut to commercial break after.
Yeah, then they cut to commercial break. I'm like, all right, cool.
Mm-hmm.
Like the little cool down stuff. The Bucks, they try to rally. They hit the hot tag with Nick. Nick Jackson is great at doing that. He does.
I love that spot so much where he's like doing the kicks and then both the turnbuckles, double knees, and then doing a double running bulldog.
Yeah.
I love that spot. Since he did it in like a match in New Japan against the Briscoes, I like love that spot ever since.
I thought he was the MVP in that ladder match. I thought he was great here. Jericho kind of intercepts with the code breaker. Then he does he's actually going to do this. He does the Judas effect. And
the tag team Judas effect where Santana Ortiz basically like Irish whip him into the elbow. And then
so
lame.
So they get the pin and they win. And that is not all, friends, because Team Jericho's beating everybody up. Then Cody, fully dressed, comes down and makes the save.
Yes.
Sammy comes out after him and gives him a low blow. Dustin Rhodes comes out and makes a save. And then
why?
Yeah, it's like Dustin's like, all right, my brother, I got to go get him. Then Jack Hager, otherwise known as Jack Swagger, comes out. Now, the cameraman goes really tight on his face a lot. I'm like, get everybody else in the ring. Like, that's great. He's intense. And commentary tells about that. But people are literally getting beat up and we can't see it. So he beats up Cody and the Bucks. Then he does like the power bomb to Dustin onto a table that doesn't break. And then Jericho does the Judas effect. Excalibur's like, the Judas effect. And then presumably we have a new heel stable. I'll just call them Judas from now on here. It's weird knowing Hager's...
Your heel faction without MJF or any other heel, it is Jimmy Havoc a heel? Like, I don't know what they're doing with a lot of people that were signed to AEW are not on this first show, which is weird. But I don't know. What are all the heels that are on this show? Like, is it it's MJF and everybody that's in the ring right now, or at that point?
Joey Janela wasn't even on the show. Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy wasn't on the show either.
The Dark Order aren't on the show. The Best Friends aren't on the show.
Private Party, they were drinking, but yeah. So now you have this new heel stable with Hager. I guess they're building up Hager and Dustin Runnels.
I don't think it's going to be a faction. I just think it's just displaying who all the heels are. I hope they're not a faction.
So I guess, I mean, of course, there's no secret now. Cody and Jericho is definitely going to happen. Like, you wouldn't do that closing segment without doing that and then have Cody lose and then it's Jericho versus, Marco Stunt for the title. I mean, you wouldn't do that. I thought...
Hopefully, I would just say hopefully we don't see Cody on the next show.
I don't think there's a chance.
Or he doesn't have a match on the next show. Let me say that.
I think you'll see him in an angle, but there's no chance in hell that he'll never not be on a show. I don't think.
I don't know. With this wins and loss thing going on, let's try to keep away from the number one contender having matches and then just beating up dudes for you could build momentum, but Sammy Guevara is the momentum.
Yeah.
Let's kind of stop it there.
So.
Oh, actually, wait. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
When is Full Gear?
It's November. Here's a funny story about Full Gear. It's the same day as a New Japan thing. And they're literally both in... it's November 9th. So it's the same...
November 9th.
Yeah.
You think that they can keep Cody from singles matches till then?
He's got to have one more, and I think he's got to have if you're going to have like that loose stable, he's got to face somebody there. He's got to get one more win, I think. I don't know if you can completely keep him off. Like, he's either going to have to be in a tag with his brother again against a combo of Sammy Guevara or LAX or Sammy Guevara and Hager, or you're going to have to kind of window dress a little bit for a month until you get the Full Sail. I mean, not Full Sail, Full Gear. My move.
Yeah, so
yeah, I'm like Full Sail.
I'll just wait till next week. I don't feel. I'm not gonna fantasy book AEW, especially on like their first show.
They might actually,
definitely.
They might actually take ideas. You never know.
Oh man, let me just send a DM and hopefully they take it.
All right, so for our closing takes here, the ratings came out a few hours ago. All right. So, as we kind of predicted, it's AEW is the hot commodity. It's its first show. So, AEW had 1.4 million viewers, which NXT, which had, I would say, 891,000 viewers. So they said it's down 11% from last week's show. That's kind of expected because you had, of course, AEW, and then you had baseball playoffs. So
sure.
The coveted 18 to 49 demographic, Dynamite got 878 viewers to NXT's 404 viewers. That is, wow. That's actually pretty... That is kind of a telling graphic there. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So definitely AEW is kind of what's telling will be second week, but AEW is definitely grabbing the young people. If you look at the breakdown of viewership from NXT from 3 weeks, September 18th, 1.179 million viewers. September 25th, these are both 1 hours on USA. 1 million viewers, and then it's down to 891,000. So, I mean, it's not a bad drop. It's not too bad of a drop. I think a lot of people are kind of like sounding the alarm because they got 1.4. But to me, that demographic number is very telling to me. Like AEW is winning the male demographic like handily, like even like South Park, Sports Center, and American Horror Story beat NXT. Of course, the wild card game was going to be NXT, but AEW held strong with that demographic and also the women demographic, which is weird because you know what I mean.
Wow, because there was only one women's match on the show.
Well, NXT did have one, but like, what are your thoughts on the overall rating?
No, NXT had two.
Oh yeah, you're right. They had two. Yeah, they had Io and Mia, and then Candice and Shayna.
The championship.
So that's kind of I'm like, that's weird. So what do you think about the overall ratings?
I'm not a ratings expert, but just the reaction of a lot of people, like, oh, like NXT's finished. Like,
no,
let's relax. Like that's really all I could say. Like, somebody mentioned earlier, it was just like, what would be a failure for AEW's first numbers? And I said, if it's lower than NXT's for first show on USA, that's an L. But they exceeded that, and good for them. They won the first battle in this Wednesday Night Wars. People think they won the war, but we know war goes on for at least a couple years. So I'm not gonna be like NXT's finished or anything,
Unless AEW is doing an Eric Bischoff where they're beating him for 80 plus weeks, I don't think that like an overall thing here. I think we all expected this. Like we all expected AEW to win. I think it's definitely I just want to say like I don't think NXT didn't drop off a big amount. You know what I mean? Like it's 1.1 to almost 900,000. You know, and I think both shows definitely need to kind of get their feet wet with angles before we even kind of judge.
And I think NXT really needs to get it together because this is their third week. So when NXT used to just be on the network, you know, you could skip it, whatever, like nothing really was happening, taping the taping, or you could just like read all the spoilers and you'll be fine. But like now it's just like let's start getting a lot story heavy, you know?
Yeah, let's start like building guys up again and kind of like building stories that we can kind of like hang on to from week to week. And that's for AEW too. Like, you know what I mean? Like it can't just be...
Yeah, this goes for both of them.
Yeah, it can't just be like, all right, man, we're just going to have matches with our best wrestlers and just kind of throw them in. And
because that doesn't work.
Yeah, you're not going to retain viewership that way. So, like...
And you've seen it with NXT because personally, was it quality-wise, I thought NXT was the better show, but it generated less viewers.
Yeah.
So, it is what it is. Story shit is what's going to get them far.
So, like, this is week. We have presumably survived the first Wednesday Night Wars. Yeah. Any final thoughts that you have? I'm excited. I'm excited that I think every wrestling fan wins in this. Like, it's going to spurn. Yes. AEW is going to eventually, especially with the statement that the WWE put out, it's going to spurn NXT to want to put on better shows and vice versa. They're going to want to, you know, they're going to want. It's gotten wrestling fans excited again, which is a good thing. So, like, final thoughts. Like, what do you think?
So everybody is basically saying a lot of stuff about alternatives, and WWE has its alternatives, but it being under the WWE umbrella is sort of like they kind of like view it as a monopoly. And like now that AEW is around, you know, they're basically fighting for us now. So both of these people are going to have equally good products and trying to like win us over. So obviously the consumer wins when there's a new person on the rise. So me, a consumer, I'm winning because, you know, there's a lot more wrestling and there's an actual like newer alternatives going on now. People that are just like WWE is over, WWE is done. Let's hold our horses. Let's relax. When has a battle ever been finished in like, you know, one night?
They premiere on Fox tomorrow. Like, like they premiere. The Rock is coming back tomorrow. Like,
how is WWE done when they're literally going to be like on Fox, and then, you know, the narratives around that is going to be whatever if they don't get the proper viewership. But from my standpoint, or the points I'm going to be taking on this show is, you know, I'm not going to be too worried about viewership. I just want quality product.
Same. That's kind of all I want too. You know what I mean? Like, I just want good wrestling. I just want good stories.
Yeah, the last thing I want to do week for week is, you know, debate ratings and, you know, both these shows stink.
Yeah.
You know, like I'd rather just talk numbers instead of then reviewing both these shows that kind of stink.
Yeah, like I don't think that ratings are kind of indicative of quality of the show. You know what I mean? Like, I think a lot of people have said, you know, NXT had the better wrestling, but like maybe AEW kind of had the better show, I guess. Like, you know what I mean? Like the better spectacle, we'll say. But
I've seen people disagree with that, but it's whatever. It's all personal preference. I just want to see good wrestling, and I don't care which show puts it on. If it's both of them, fantastic.
Yeah. So entertain us, please.
Yes, fight for my love.
Fight, yeah, like a brother and sister fighting for their parents' love.
Yes.
Yeah, so that does it for us here. This is our first war report. I'm excited to do this with Cyrus every single week. It's going to be a fun time.
It's going to be the funnest of times and then the worst of times, because it's going to get real bad when both these products suck at the same time.
Yeah, like if AEW decides to bring the Librarian back on.
Yeah, like, those slow weeks in wrestling.
Oh.
And if both of them are slow, oh my lord.
Post-Mania, like, that was a drag. That was a definite drag.
Stuff like that. But, like, when they both, like, oh my god, like, what is WrestleMania weekend going to look like next year?
Insanity. And it's just insanity.
It's going to be some crazy stuff.
Like, so I guess, everybody save your money up, because you got two major organizations, and I guess you got Impact coming to Tuesdays at the end of the month, and you got MLW. Like, it's just wrestling all around. It's just a good time to be a wrestling fan.
A lot of stuff.
Just
like, there is no shortage of content.
Yeah, so don't complain. Like, there's no good wrestling involved. Like, there's literal wrestling everywhere for everybody. Stardom, New Japan, and just something for everybody.
Dragon Gate. All CML, AAA, which we did a review on Spot Callers. Yeah, like, trust me, there's a lot of wrestling out there. So if you're not feeling the Wednesday Night Wars,
yeah, but we hope you do, because we want you to. Of course, we want you to listen every week. Yeah, that does it for me and Cyrus. Of course, you can follow us at RNC Radio Live. Of course, we have a new episode of the A Show up, because the guys had to switch to Wednesday night because the whole entire schedule shifted, because with SmackDown being on Fridays, of course, we have SmackDown and Hell in a Cell coming up on Sunday. Give us a follow. We have new episodes of So Help Me God. Which we just had a new
Mount Silver,
Spot Callers that myself and Cyrus did about Triple Mania. New playlist. There's just something for everybody at RNC Radio Live. So go give us a follow, give us a listen. For myself and for Cyrus, thank you for listening to us and joining the War Report, and we will see you back here again next week.